tangerine peel comes off. Perfect serpentine, citrus perfume. Lingers above me, her fingers are lovely, her fingers are lovely, her fingers are. Ooh, her fingers are. Crossing her palm, chained to her lips, receive your peace. Spirit above me, her fingers are lovely, her fingers are lovely, her fingers are. Ooh, her fingers are. Between the flesh and brine, want to hold you closer, across the great divide. Strong hands, strong hands, strong hands, strong hands, strong hands, strong hands. Strong hands, strong hands, strong hands, strong hands. You're gonna need expertise, self-strength you didn't know you had. You're gonna need expertise, self-strength you didn't know you had. You're gonna need expertise, a strength you didn't know you had. You're gonna need expertise, a strength you didn't know you had. The second song I'm going to sing is about like the lightness that I felt when I finally let myself walk away from Catholicism. It's called Baby Gun. I dreamed that I received communion. It was heavy on my tongue. Pour out the dregs like a libation. raise your spirit. Baby, go on. There's no one you have to become. You can hear it. Baby, God, your tradition, our blood, toy within. Baby, God, your tradition, our blood, toy within. Baby, God, Thank you. I ask some questions about because I haven't told a lot of people about that.
I should have checked before I walked up here who's next. Hey John, who's next on the list?
I think I might have signed up. Okay.
And normally, yeah, you want to borrow mine? No, mine.
Oh, that's your electric going here? Oh, sure. I'll play some electric guitar, actually. But I'll borrow yours next.
And then also two other announcements. We do have lemon bars that I brought up. So there's some lemon bars if anyone would like one. Also, we are going to be here all day Thursday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Because we'll be opening as a cooling center. As you know, we're having an unprecedentedly difficult. We're having a really difficult summer.
This is the thing? Oh, you have all these pedals too? Having to get used to this thing. It's a little, it's different. Got some troubles, but they won't last. Gotta lay right here in the grass. Pretty soon all my troubles will
So meek, I've been so cautious, but my tongue has found a fire. It says these words, their silence there, all bound with copper wire. Let your mind be like a large array that's pointed out towards space. The sky is full of stars, he shine upon your
Thank you. That was not as graceful as I thought it would be with the cable there in the way. Grace is the operative word.
Give it up again for Hans. We have Connor
You
coming
can
up
ask me
next.
about that song.
Oh, yeah, your assignment. So everyone has an assignment tonight. So you have to meet one new person, and then you have to ask or answer a question about what you're performing that you've never told anyone. So in other words, if you're just here to listen, you have to ask somebody a question about what they performed. And if you're doing anything on stage, then you have to tell somebody something about what you did on stage that you've never told anyone. That second part is off.
I think we already know that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Actually, that doesn't happen when I come here, I'm just fine.
Give us a warmer color up here.
I'll try. Yeah.
It's grinding.
It looks good on the thing.
Oh, you got the video going. Never mind. That was nice.
No, I'll see what I think.
Don't worry about it. It's not like that. I'm not worried about it. They're all the same. It's
Yeah. Close
okay.
Oh my God. We're alive.
Be here for the. And this is Nancy, everyone. Give it up for Nancy.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something that happened to me back in the 1950s when I was about 14. And it's pretty horrible. I mean, the memory is pretty horrible. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced it like I have, but I'm going to tell you about the first time I got drunk. And my parents had a boarding house, and I did a lot of the work in there. I had to help with the cooking of the food and making the beds and cleaning the house. And my brothers got off scot-free because they were boys. And so this summer was coming, and I just dreaded having to work even more because there would be no school. So I started looking in the newspaper for a job, any kind of job. And there it was, this little jewel, a job to be a nanny at Huntington Lake, California. Now, Huntington Lake is, at that time, and probably still is, a jewel up in the Sierras. It's about 5 miles long, and it's 7,000 feet, and it's just incredibly beautiful. And at that time, they didn't sell any of the land. It was leased for 100 years, and there were only a few hundred cabins around it, and one small little resort, and one side was camps, like the Girl Scout camp and the Boy Scout camp. And so this was to be a nanny to a family who had one of those cabins for the whole summer. And I added it up, it would be 97 days that I would get paid for instead of having to work for free. So I called up and made an interview to go. My parents said, oh, they're kind of thrilled that I was looking for a job. And so on a Saturday, they took me over to the house, or my mother did, and we drove up out front, and right there it was like a circular driveway up to this house that circled all the way around to the street. I'd never even seen a house like that before. We didn't have a television at the time. So we drove up and parked out front, and I got out, and her name was Bond, Mrs. Bond, and she took us in. She was very gracious, and she took us into the formal living room. And I could see through a big, beautiful archway another room that was a little less formal. There was French Provincial in the room I was being interviewed, and here was another room. 2 living rooms? Who had a house with 2 living rooms? And one just for the kids? God, I was unbelievable. Plus the huge lawn out front, I was intimidated. So she started asking me questions. Did I know how to cook anything? I said, yes, I've been helping my mother cook dinner for years. I knew how to cook. And I was a good baker. I could make a good pie because I made my father a pie almost every Saturday. Later on, I did it even more frequently so that he'd let me go on a date, because if I presented him with a pie and said, is it okay if I go out tonight? I'll be back by 12 or midnight or whenever my time limit was at that time, and he couldn't say no. So pies were a good way to get to my dad. So then my mother got interviewed. Did I really know how to cook? Yes, she really knows how to cook. Make beds, clean up, yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming. So I went home and waited by the phone, waited by the phone, waited by the phone. End of the day, the next day comes, waited by the phone, waited by the phone. Nothing happens. Finally, the 3rd day, we get a call. I'd given up. I decided I really didn't want to be a nanny anyway. I would just sort of disappear at home during the middle of the day, and then maybe I wouldn't have to do so much work. But she wanted me, and it would start June 1st. So my mother went out and bought me a bathing suit, because I'd outgrown my old one, and I had to have my own sleeping bag. And I went to their house, and she said goodbye, and I got in this the car with strangers, 4 children, 2 years old, and the oldest was 8. There was a boy, a little 2-year-old boy, then there were 2 older boys that were little rat turds, and an older girl that was 8. And in the car, in the back seat, I got to know the girls and the kids, and they were pretty good, and the parents sat in the front, and it was a weekend, and we went up to this, I called it a compound, because I remembered the Kennedy's compound, and this is what it reminded me of. It was a main cabin with a huge deck that overlooked the lake, a huge living room and kitchen combined, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom that was 3 times the size of our bathroom at home. And then up the side of the mountain behind this house were 3 sleeping cabins and a laundry and storage cabin. We got the cabins up there, the kids and I, except the 2-year-old. He was down in the big cabin with his parents. Well, the summer was really wonderful for me. It was cool up there, it wasn't 110. What happened was, to have a cabin there was the in thing. The husband of this family was a dentist, and not just anybody could have a cabin. It was very social, and the men only came up on the weekends, and then they went back down and did their jobs during the week and came back up on the weekends. Because it was so hot in Fresno, the wife and kids stayed up there. Not everybody in 1950 had air conditioning, believe me. So they taught me to water ski. They had it was just a huge wooden boat to tow people behind. They were really very nice. I didn't feel, I wasn't overworked. So if the kids got too noisy, the mother would hand over a few bills and tell us to walk to the store and get some ice cream. So it wasn't hard. They were pretty good, except the 2 little boys. The 2-year-old stayed at home with mom a lot. So this is how the summer went. The husband came on the weekends. There was a lot of socializing. There was a lot of drinking, a lot of parties. They had a floor-to-ceiling liquor cabinet that opened like this. It was a beautiful piece of wood, not to mention all the liquor inside. We'll get to that in a minute. So the summer progressed, and I really had a good time. I didn't mind the work. It wasn't any more than I would have done at home. In fact, it was less and it was cooler. So the last night comes while we're there, and the parents decide that they're going to go up into one of the sleeping cabins the last night, and I'm going to stay down in the big cabin with the little boy. And I'm assuming they wanted to play whoopee. So they left and went upstairs. It was 8 or 9 o'clock. The kids all went up to their rooms. And there I was alone in the house with the liquor cabinet. Now in my house at home, we had drinks at Christmas, and we'd have some kind of liquor at Christmas. Eggnog, that's the word I want. We had eggnog at Christmas. We kids even got a little taste. And I think there was a bottle of whiskey up in the cupboard that I don't remember anybody ever taking. I think we used the same whiskey bottle for years and years to make the drinks with at Christmas. And my mother liked a beer every once in a while at night. She'd have a beer before she went to bed. She said it made her help her sleep. So I hadn't been around much liquor, and they had all kinds of liqueurs and unusual things. Drambuie, what Drambuie? I gotta try that. So I decided that I'm all alone, the kids are all asleep, they're up in one of the cabins. I'll just take a sip of every single bottle that's open. Yeah, baby. So I started. I did not like Drambuie. I remember this day I can't stand Drambuie. And boy, I want to tell you, throwing up Drambuie isn't any good either. So anyway, the night progressed and I got pretty wasted. I wasn't able to stand up very well, and I thought everything was hilariously funny. And finally I went to bed in my sleeping bag on the sofa. And in the middle of the night, I woke up. And of course, I was sick inside the sleeping bag. And so both the sleeping bag and me were covered with vomit. And so I got up. It was about 4 or 5 in the morning, and I was terrified they were going to come down because we were going to eat and leave early in the morning, I thought. So I was in a hurry, so I ran in and took a shower real quick and put on my clothes, and then I tried to scrub it out of the sleeping bag. Oh man, it was really awful. And finally, I zipped the sleeping bag up and rolled it up and tied it and put it in the corner. And when they walked in, I was just, hi, but my head was swimming. It was really hard for me to act like normal. And they knew right away. I think that they must have smelled it, because the husband said, Nancy, are you all right? Do you feel okay? And I said, no, I really don't. I've had an upset stomach all night. Oh, you poor thing. And I know now, looking back and remembering the whole scene as it transpired, that he figured I'd gotten drunk. Because he made a big, big batch of oatmeal for all of us for breakfast. He pushed my bowl in front of me with a spoon and poured in milk and sugar and said, now, you want you to eat all of this. It'll make you feel better. Well, I tried really hard to eat it. I really did. But I wasn't very successful. And finally, I just told him I just couldn't eat anymore. And he said, okay, well, go up and finish washing the sheets and get them on the line out on the top of the hill where they have this little flat area for the laundry room. So I went outside and I dragged myself up to the top and I started hanging out the sheets. And as I hung like this and like this, I looked down, and underneath right there, where I was gonna step almost, was a dead mountain blue jay with ants crawling in its eyes. Well, that was it for me. That was it. I threw up till I didn't have anything in me at all, nothing. And I leaned against the tree and breathed and breathed and breathed. And finally I felt like I could finish hanging up the clothes. But let me tell you, to do the laundry and have to work when you're hungover is an experience I wouldn't wish on anybody. Thanks for listening.
We got Dan coming up next, but let's give it up again for Nancy. I'll get your mask. Nancy and her family were super helpful in running the vaccine clinic and helping us out this morning. So I should thank Nancy for doing that. And then this is Dan's first time at our open mic. So let's give a big round of applause to Dan.
Cat head fell off.
Cat head.
Check, check.
Oh, it's a pipe cleaner cat, It fell off this pipe cleaner. There's his body.
Oh, it's your cat head. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were handing it to his dog.
Check 1, 2. This is a song I wrote called Rebirth. It's about rebirth in a reggae style. Spotlights are harsh. This is Hans on violin. Dan Chopper. Yeah, that's right. It goes like this. Rebirth, rebirth, rebirth. The fire's gone out of control. Danger and darkness over your door. Can't see forest through the trees. Please, I'm down on my knees, rebirth. Why you weeping, weary-eyed? Your happiness is here on earth, rebirth. Come on, tell me what you're thinking. battle for your soul has just begun. Bear witness this transformation. The time for triumphance is near. Like the prodigal son, you're no longer in weary birth. Dry your weeping, weary eyes, your happiness is here on earth, rebirth. Come on, tell me what's your curse. And so it is rebirth. Oh yeah, sitting on the hilltop side, watching the world's come alive. Oh yeah, sitting in my head just fine, watching the sweet sunrise. La 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 la. Stars will light you on your way, over and under, through dark and decay. These comic truths we must face. There's no hiding place, rebirth. Dry your weeping, weary eyes, your happiness is here on earth, rebirth. Come on, tell me what your curse. Oh yeah, sitting on the hilltop side, watching the world's come alive. Oh yeah, sitting in my head, just fine, sweet sunrise. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. All right, we got one more here. It's Hans. I wanted to say Hank, but it's Hans. Working on these name things. Okay, so I wrote this one. I had just remembered this song like last night, and I was like, oh, I forgot I wrote it. But it was about, I wrote it during like the Bernie Sanders campaign of this last run. And I was like, oh, I gotta bust that out again. And so I polished up on it, and here it is. I think it still works, you know, even though the time is maybe past, I suppose. All right, so here we go. It's more folky than reggae. Here's a story about a nation that had fallen asleep. Its noble precepts the leaders couldn't keep up, in goodwill for all and prosperity. So the story goes. Then came along a socialist Jew from Brooklyn. Said, I want you to start a political Revolution, the upper echelon scoffs, said he'd end up losing, but the revolution grows and grows. Saying stand up now, or die on your knees. This moment won't last and we must be free. Don't believe the lies about scarcity. With 2020 eyes we can have all we need. And the political class living in the past all shake their heads saying this won't last. But we know there's new players in this cast, and we come to take a country back. And the people of the world should jump for joy, cause the peaceful boys and girls have all been deployed. All shapes and sizes, ages and creeds are coming to the aid of a world in need. With the wind at our back and cynicism thick, we will rebuild this nation brick by brick. Beat the establishment and their endless bag of tricks. And that's how the story's gonna go. We call on MLK, FDR, Eugene Debs, Rosa Parks. Come on, all you troubadours, we need you more than we ever did before. With Hitler's ghost in hot pursuit, it's fertile for a leader to rise anew, for a leader to rise anew. And the man is a Brooklyn Jew. Solo! Says who's gonna stand up for the working class, with Washington flooded with dirty cash? What do you say when your grandchildren ask, all the money in the world won't buy your planet back? They called him old and grouchy, unappealing, but this socialist Jew sure got the country reeling. They tried to keep us low, got a brand new ceiling. Hey Joe, style without your toes. So I guess the answer to this pointed proposition is hell yes, we want a political revolution. Will it be by the ballot or by the bruising? Former, I hope. Saying stand up now or die on your knees. This moment won't last and we must be free. Don't believe the lies about scarcity. With 2020 eyes we can't have all we need. Stand up now. Thank you. Thank you, Hans, over there. That's good, man.
Dan Chopra in his first Alluvium performance. We have Richard coming up next, and then Oprah on deck.
Hi, Richard.
Hey.
Yes, understand. The mic?
Thanks. Hey, I'm Richard. So the thing that I would tell people, and maybe you guys can help me with this tonight, let me get the pick out of my chart list, is I get really nervous when I play, and a lot of times you couldn't really tell that because I just like put on this trip that like I forgot the name I'm doing. But if you guys would be willing to help me and say things like everybody could just say, "You're doing great."
You're doing great, honey.
You're doing great. Cool. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
What's the worst thing?
That's actually that's not a good one. Yeah, just support. I feel supported. Oprah, you around? Can you do a saw solo when I cue you, buddy? It'll be about 2 verses in. I'm doing great. I can almost hear the stillness as it yields to the sound of your heart beating. I can almost hear the echo of the thoughts I know you must be thinking. I can feel your body tremble as you wonder what this moment holds in store. As I put my arms around you, I can tell you've never been this far before. I don't know what I'm saying as my trembling fingers touch forbidden places. I wanna know that I waited for so long for the chance that we are taking. Well, I don't know and I don't care. Did you tell him you don't love him anymore? As I taste your tender kisses, I can tell you've never been this far before. Got everybody in the studio. Yeah. As I take the love you're giving, I can feel the tension building in your mind. And you're wondering if tomorrow I'll be loving you like I'm loving you tonight. Ain't no way I know it, but tonight will only make me love you more. And I hope that you believe me, 'cause I know you've never been this far. Go ahead, Oprah. Never been this far before. say goodnight to me. When you're feeling out inside of me. Got the shivers in my backbone, got the shakes in my knees, got the tremors in my thigh bone. Shake it out, bluebird. Just the way you say goodnight to me. Bring that feeling out inside. Thank you. That went well. That really went well. Thank you.
Give it up again for Richard. You've been on a real journey, so it's good to have you back, Richard.
What's that?
Oh, you've been on a journey.
I have.
So it's nice to have you back.
Thanks.
Am I supposed to look?
No, I was just wondering if you wanted to go with this.
This is
Oh,
part of
I'm
it.
not doing music, I'm doing shit with harmony.
Okay.
But you can do anything you want, man.
Next time, just yes.
If you got a flugelhorn, you wanna join in, come on. I'll do it. Can I move this way a little bit? Just like that, so I don't step out of. Good evening, Muskogee, Oklahoma. It's good to be back. Good to see you again. Things look a little different. It looks like a lot of you kicked your opioid addictions. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that, sorry. Probably found out that whippets are a lot better, huh? Well, good on you, Muskogee. So, I had a religious epiphany last week, and I thought, I should go right down to the Cathedral of Notre Dame des Alluvium and share. But it turns out that I had a total misunderstanding of what an epiphany is. I thought it had something to do with peeing in your pants, and I thought I've been having epiphanies all the time. Like when I hang out in the park, ducks, geese, nutria, they come and lay their head in my lap and gently lick me. I thought I was like fucking St. Francis and shit, but I Wikipedia'd that shit, found out like something, I was just an old man with pee pants. But But then the real thing happened to me. I was rummaging down in a garbage can. I call that being butt up in the dumpster of love. But I'm down in there moving the kitty litter and the diapers aside, and I see the most holy, sacred relic. And I pull it up, I pull it out, and it's like, it's the trumpet of the goddess. And as I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden, me and the garbage can and the goddess's trumpet were all lifted up into the air on light beams, and there's angels with dirty faces looking at us. And I went to blow the first sacred note, but I had to pull, there was a piece of bread stuck in there, I had to pull that out first. And it was like, and I was just like, oh my God. All of a sudden, you know, everything made sense. I understood why I'm here, what I'm meant to do in life. It all came together. I was like, yes, I must go down and to the 3rd and Monroe and anoint, Annoy, yeah, Brother Eli's flock with the holy sacred trumpet of the goddess. So the thing is, tonight's presentation is going to be an interpretation of a seminal classic work on death and dying by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, where she details the 7 steps of death and dying. You know, actually, I don't remember. I mean, there could be 9 steps, maybe 5. I don't know. I mean, who the fuck cares when you're dead, right? There's really just 1 step, you know. But as the famous philosophy comedian Henny Youngman once said, comedy is tragedy plus time. It's summertime and the living is easy. Man, I forgot to put on my clown's nose. I was supposed to do that. I just forgot.
Give it up again for Oprah.
Oh, yeah.
Oprah walks up and down 3rd Avenue and like beats the drum about this open mic night. So we're really grateful for all that support and enthusiasm.
Well, I had an epiphany. I had an epiphany this evening, even before Oprah came up and shared his with us. And I'm surrounded by music all the time. That's my life. But I swim in pretty deep waters when I come in here on a Sunday night. Thank y'all.
All right, Alex.
All right. Well, I wasn't planning on playing this one, but I grew up in Oklahoma. So I just wanted to continue that Okie theme here. And this one's about my aunts, Aunt Mabel and Aunt Bertha, neither one of which were actually related by blood, but they were my aunts, and they used to babysit me when I was little, me and my brothers and sisters. And so I wrote this song about them about a year or so ago. It's called Oklahoma Twister. She's an Oklahoma twister. She ain't Aunt Bertha's sister. She's a ball of fire and the fastest one a horse you ever seen. She can dish it out with kickers. She don't answer to no misters. She's the sweetest sleeping rattlesnakes, sharp as she is keen. Now Mabel's barrel racing by the time she learned to walk. At 12 she was the local cowgirl queen. She could rope a calf, brand a bull, spit tobacco, beat your butt and pull in her alligator cowgirl boots. She stood up tall and ran, 'cause she's an Oklahoma twister. She ain't Aunt Bertha's sister. She's a ball of fire, the fastest on a horse you ever seen. She can dish it out with kickers. She don't answer to no misters. She's the sweetest sleeping rattlesnakes, sharp as she is keen. Aunt Mabel owns a roadhouse on old Highway 66, where the cowpokes drink their beer, sheep pull toss and darts. She's cracking jokes behind the bar, and drunken cowpokes won't get far, and they think that they'll romance her. She's gonna bust their hearts, 'cause she's an Oklahoma twister. She ain't Aunt Bertha's sister. She's a ball of fire and the fastest on a horse you ever seen. She can dish it out with kickers. She don't answer to no mister. She's the sweetest sleeping rattlesnakes, as sharp as she's keen. This is where Oprah would play if I thought to ask him to take out his saw, but I'll just go on with it. Now, Bertha works a nursing at the clinic down the street. She's quite not one you'll see out on the town. She tends a garden full of roses, but at night when the bar closes, she's waiting for Aunt Mabel in her negligee nightgown. 'Cause they're Oklahoma twisters. They sure as hell ain't sisters. They're balls of fire and fastest on a horse you ever seen. They can dish it out with kickers. They don't answer to no misters. They're sweet as sleep rattlesnakes, as sharp as they are keen. You might think of them as spinsters. They're not, and here's a clincher. You better hold your peace. Aunt Mabel packs a gun. She did. They both grew up on this range. While some might find them strange, Bert's got a heart of gold. Mabel's always up for fun. 'Cause they're Oklahoma twisters. sharp as they are keen. So I just want to put it out there. I mentioned this last time I was here a couple of weeks ago too, that anytime I'm playing something or even beforehand, and you like what I'm doing, feel free to take out your instrument and come on up and join me. But this one would probably be hard to do that. You're welcome to try. I'm still learning it. I just wrote it the day before yesterday. I'm kind of still working on it a little bit, but I don't know. I feel safe here in playing new songs and trying things out. And I write songs because I'm trying to communicate something. I know that we all play music for that reason, and this is something that feels important to me. So it's called. Well, I think I changed the name of it. Yeah, I changed the name of it. It's Better Not to Know is what I've called it now, and it's kind of a folky thing for me. I think Woody Guthrie might have sent me this one. Well, halfway down the mountain where the blue Mackenzie flows, are stumps trees that didn't burn, the ash remains of those that gave their life to a raging fire as the fierce east wind did blow. Well, what becomes of a black bear's den? It's better not to know. It's better not to know. When we hear thousands of acres burn, we think of people and their homes, and we all pitch in to help them. There's countless more who don't stand a chance as changes come. We can't just up and roll. There's really nowhere else to go. This planet is our home. This planet is our home. Australia, Spain, Australia, Spain, Siberia, infernos near and far. Woods that may not return, heat and drought will make it hard. We breathe their deaths 1,000 miles, our children breathe it too. Can you put on a mask and turn your back, pretend you never knew that this is what we choose? There's not a flag that'll save you. There's nothing cash can buy. No guns will help our children when the ocean waters rise. Like those who lived in paradise when hell came to their door. And those with nests deep in the woods who will never sing no more. They'll never sing no more. We can silence all the scientists, remove all those who teach, run over those who protest, ignore those who seek to sound alarm to save their kids, to try to save yours too. Wouldn't change a thing, it'll just get worse if we don't change our tune. Work together or we're doomed. It's gonna take some changes, and it's gonna take them now. We're all part of the problem, and the problem is just how. We live to buy and throw away, we live to waste and dump. We like to point our fingers, but my friend, we own those stones. And the death that's in our lungs. mountain where the blue Mackenzie flows are reminders of a world to come, surely as it did to those. No matter if we're rich or poor, it'll take us all to make it go. Yeah, what may come if we don't try, it's better not to know. It's better not to know.
Give it up again for Alan, everyone. And we have another first-time performer here. Lorraine?
Lawrence.
Oh, Lawrence, I'm so sorry.
I'm so glad we're all able to come out and gather again. It's been a rough year for sure, but hang on. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised here in Lane County on the coast over in Florence. So I tell people I'm a mermaid, pulled out of the Pacific Ocean and put into a large family full of herrings. That was my maiden name. And I have red hair, and still do. So I am an authentic red herring. So anyways, I got married very young, and I was raised by a logger and a housekeeper. My mom was an inner city girl, pulled out of Minneapolis, hauled over into what I say, buttfuck nowhere, Oregon, back in the day. My dad, he was a good guy, a Marine, a little bit stuck in the Old Testament. So he raised me to be Jewish, quasi-Jewish, heavy on the ish. Heavy on the fish, no shellfish. No cussing. Don't say Jiminy Crickets or Fiddlesticks. Nothing. Plain speaking. And don't eat unclean meat. Don't be shellfish. Don't eat pork and don't be a porker. No fun. No Christmas, no Halloween, no Easter. No. We only celebrated holy days. Now I celebrate everything, even donut holes. So I was raised on what I say the sneaker wave of the drug-induced hippie days. I had 3 older sisters. One of my sisters was a little bit of a rebel. She ran off with a biker gang, not the Hells Angels, but the Free Souls. And I was the youngest of a large family, and I had a little bit of a temper on me. Yes, I still do. I have to watch out for my alcohol consumption, because if you pour alcohol on me, my flying monkeys turn into flying King Kongs with butterfly wings. So after a 20-year marriage that can only be described as a Stockholm Syndrome marriage to a man who came over from Oklahoma, born in England. So imagine that combination. An attitude of narcissism with the background of Okie from Muskogee. So if you know the state motto of Oregon, it's by her own wings she flies. And I flew out of that marriage and went to the U of O, where I became a duck. And I then went into forced empty nest syndrome in my middle age, because I lost all of my egg heads in a custody battle. And as a mom of 8, that's enough, I tell people I have 8 children, and they're all gods except 6 of them. Those are goddesses. One of my poems that got published in Oregon's Best Emerging Poets, it's called Wings. It goes, well, I think, shut your trap, he crudely clipped. Who cares about your opinions? I do, she cried, and signified, as years of trapped opinions shot out her middle finger. Marriage dissolved, pinions restored, phoenix flying. I kind of summed up my attitude. Thank you. So comedy, I got into comedy as a way of healing up from trauma because living in Oregon has been traumatic. I have lost a lot of family members to accidents, drug overdoses, violence, suicide, you know, you name it. Oregon it can be a dangerous place, but it's beautiful. You just have to watch out for falling logs, hurricane force winds, mudslides, people on drugs, drunk driving accidents, curving roads, you know, falling off cliffs, and just general ignorant, stupid people that take risks sometimes. Not that I have ever done that, but yes, I have. Anyways, I am thankful to be alive. Here's another poem I wanted to share tonight. It's called Laura on the Edge. The Byzantine monks dwelt in the Lauras of Cheriton, all located in remote edges of the desert or on the cliffs above the Jordan Valley. She figures she was meant to be planted on the outskirts, a stylite in the remote caverns of society. Dutifully, she makes her weekly pilgrimage to Ace's Bar, where she ministers to robbers of virtue. Perching on a bar stool, she prays over a shot glass and eyes hopeful postulants. They gather, feigning respect, seeking paradise, observing her low-cut dress, hoping to join in her communion. How well she carries out the vows of her religion, patiently hearing confessionals, offering holy kisses and salt pretzel sacraments, while the karaoke choir belts Bon Jovi to the rafters. Yes, she knows all about how living this close to heaven works. If you ask, she'll show you 7 ways to pray. And if you put enough money in the collection plate, she'll even forgive you later. I was raised to be a fisher of men, to hook them into a conversation and then tell them all about God and God's love. And yes, I have delved into bars, and there are some rough people in bars. I have had to run from men, some men, especially if they're drunk, or predators. But they're hurting, some of them are hurting, and hurting people can hurt people. And I have had to warn some men. I tell them, back off, buddy. I'm related to Lorena Bobbitt. If you don't know who she is, you can look her up. And then I'll say, bibbidi bobbidi boo, I'm a witch. I'll cast a spell on you. It's a good thing I'm really good friends with Lorena Bartlett, and I'm mostly a vegetarian. So here's another poem I want to share. It's called Love in the Mist. Nigella Damascena, which of your many monikers have you been given now? Metamorphic flower with perennial tenacity you carry on. You have such thread-like beginnings. From a ring of feathery foliage, your tiny bud unfolds, pale blue blossoms, and for a time, all is a tangle of gossamer and lace. Suspended in a halo of green, the gardener calls you gem of all flowers. All summer, you excite the gazing gardener whose garden beds you grace. In you, he finds a mirror of a Middle Eastern sky, an ethereal queen offering multifid sapphire jewels. Then enchanting summer ends. Your silk dress petals fade, exposing a ragged lady. A 5-pointed lantern pregnant with black crescent moons and stale air. Your haversack seed pod grows brown and bulbous, like a ballooned Hindenburg. Your once unearthly elegance, now hideous and alien, sports spikes and horns. The gardener now calls you devil in a bush. So I have a really good side to me because I do love people. And it hurts me to see other people getting hurt, but then I have also been traumatized. I've had to forgive some people who didn't know what they were doing, like the woman on drugs who attacked me in 2019. She came flying around the corner, and I tried to call cahoots to help her, and then I tried to separate myself. And I solved the ancient riddle of how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. We used to argue about that. About as many demons as can dance on the end of a needle, depending on what drug's on the other side of it. I know that woman loves me. She just wanted to pound it into my head. And she only spent 4 days in jail and told the judge she was off to Portland and doesn't remember that night. So, one of my superpowers is forgiving people, like my ex-husband and that woman, and some of my children even, and myself. I've had to forgive myself because I'm not a perfect person. One of the first times I ever got drunk was when I was 4. My dad taught me how to chop off chicken heads when I was 4. And we had a Passover dinner, and my mom put some Ineshuitz wine in my little tin cup at 4. And my dad put a little more, and the next thing I knew, I threw that tin cup across the table, and I said, I want some more. And I said, that's when I first knew I was a pirate. Wait till I get older, I'm gonna drink you guys all under the table and dance naked on top of it. Actually, one time I almost killed myself. I almost drank an entire bottle of peppermint schnapps. That's alcohol poisoning. And I walked around smelling like a peppermint cane for, 3 or 4 days. So I am thankful to be alive. Be careful with alcohol. It's very baffling and powerful and cunning. So I'm out of time, but thank you guys for, whoops.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Yeah, very beautiful. Next time I'll do my Yeller Tater song.
Lauren's Herring. Lauren's Herring like a fish. Yeah, I'll be there. Thank you again to first-time performer Lawrence Herring, and give it up everyone for Julian.
Good enough. Hi. Let's see. Today I'm going to be starting with an original. Fun little tune, in my opinion, that is mainly about adventures in the woods. And if you are maybe a bit too old or something like that, and you've had some past adventures, and you probably can't really go out and be too rough in the wilderness again, it's about the memories that you've had doing that in the past, and how you still have them, and they're still enjoyable to go back and reminisce on. When we were younger, we ran wild and without care, crawling through the mud and brush with sticky birds in our hair. Imagination flowing with the water in the creek, lost inside the stones we throw with splashes and a rippled streak. We didn't know the magic that we have, the joy and liberation that we have. In the arms of nature, in the nectar of the land, dirt would blend into our skin and gather upon our hands. Intoxicating smells of the pines would fill the air. Playing games of exploration, leading us anywhere. Befriending all the animals we'd see. Becoming one of them and running free. Lost to memories held by forests and trees, hiding in the woods for you to find. And though you may be old, they're out there, I'm told, waiting to be found deep in the glen. Wishing you were with them once again. Sap-ridden fingers gripping on the rugged bark, resting for a while with the fire after dark. The foliage is sacred, you are holy with the earth. But the games never last forever, take it for what it's worth. The wilderness will always have its place. Patiently it waits for your embrace. Lost to memories held by forests and trees, hiding in the woods for you to find. And though you may be old, they're out there, I'm told, waiting to be found deep in the glen. Wishing you were with them once again. The woods call your name. Come on out and play their game. The woods call your name. Come on out and play their game. Whoa. Oh. Thank you so much. One of the things I wanted to point out is just how wonderfully weird all of you are. Everyone who's come up here tonight has their own just sort of weird quirk about them that I just love to see expressed so adamantly and so just so personally, and so I don't know, just it's all the weird things I love them. Keep being weird, please. We need more weirdness in the world. This second song is a cover tonight. I've been doing all originals up until now. And this song hit me like a lightning strike doing dishes one day at a job. I was listening to some sort of Spotify radio station and it came, and it was this punk song, under 2 minutes, where it's just a guy on an acoustic guitar. Really, really upbeat, fast song. I had to really kind of listen to catch the lyrics too, because he was kind of shouting them really punk-like, of course, so. But when I was hearing them, I'm like, this is straight fire. And I quickly took out my wet gloves and saved it and all that good stuff. And I've decided to slow it down just a tad so you can hear the lyrics a bit better. And I think it adds a little bit more power to it. So it's called something like 10 Things, I think it's called, by Paul Barabeau, if anyone knows who that is. So y'all enjoy. Name 10 things you want to do before you die, and then go do them. Try higher. Name 10 places you really want to be before you die, and then go to them. Name 10 books you want to read before you die, and then go read them. Name 10 songs you want to hear again before you die. Get all your friends together and scream them. Because right now, all we have is time, time, time. And someday that time will run out. That's the only thing you can be absolutely certain about. Think of all the things that are wrong with your life and then fix them. Think of all the things that you love about your life. Be thankful you are blessed with them. Think of all the things that hold you back and realize that you don't need them. Think of all the mistakes you have made in your life. Make sure that you never repeat them. Because right now, all we have is time, time, time. And someday that time will run out. That's the only thing you can be absolutely certain about. Name 10,000 reasons why you never want to die. Go and tell someone who might have forgotten. Try to list the endless reasons why it's good to be alive, and then smile for a while about them. Soon the sun will rise and another day will come. And soon enough the sun will set, another day will be gone. And right now all we have is time, time, time. And someday that time will run out. That's the only thing you can be absolutely certain about. And right now all we have is time, time, time. And someday that time will run out. That's the only thing you can be absolutely certain about. Really hard. How to use that paper, right? But we made it through it. Thank you so much. Right? Like a lightning bolt. I never stopped.
Julian, everyone, you're new here.
No, well, this is my third time.
But 2 months in town.
Yeah, like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. And
Oh, and Alyssa and Will have been sketching every performer. So I think one of the neat things about this open mic is we have so much like other art being created, whether or not it's people writing or people sketching or people playing. So check out their artwork later. And check out their music now.
Myself, but also the end of like a 22-year-old relationship. blank fright, which is one of the reasons why I've been doing this for a few weeks, is to try and get over that. So electrification is sort of a magical thing, but it takes some getting used to. This song I wrote about my father, who was currently going through pancreatic cancer. He was a painter and a printmaker in town for many years, and he's about to move in with me, I think. So, sort of a work in progress. Let's see if I can remember it all. He is just a tortured soul who frees himself with colored oils on a canvas stretched out like a cross. Paints his sins away each day with turpentine. They melt away, dripping down upon the world. It's beautiful and true. Your misery becomes you. I guess it's sort of bittersweet. My misery becomes me. She is an actress on the stage, playing her part in the play. The smell of nervous sweat and stale cigarettes backstage. When the lights go dim, the audience is all cleared out. She peels her face off and puts the pieces back away. It's beautiful and true. Your misery becomes you. I guess it's sort of bittersweet. My misery becomes, my misery becomes me. He scribbles away the night and tosses back another and after months of drought, the stories come pouring out. Fears and dreams rain at the seams. They finally stand up proud and beautiful and true. Your misery becomes you.
And Alyssa has some really lovely artwork that you should definitely check out. And Alyssa is also here, or was also here on Tuesday, and I want to thank them for coming by on Tuesday. And then also we have the figure drawing on Tuesday. That so we have well, Will's coming up here. Let's talk about that briefly. We do have a figure drawing class that happens every Tuesday from 6 to 9. We also have and they have a live nude model. So it's really inspiring to see their art that's being created here. But I'd love to do an art show someday called Created Alluvium, where the art that we put up is the It's the art that gets created here. Sage Liskey, by the way, is our current artist who just put these works up yesterday. So check out his open poetry night. That's going to be his art show here on August 20th. It's going to happen this month. We also do other things here. We do our food pantry every Thursday and Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. So if you know anyone who's food insecure or who has needs, make sure you let them know about that. And Will has some really lovely artwork too that he's working on. So check that out before you go. Give it up to Will, everyone.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for all of those of you who have performed tonight. And let's give a very, very big and gracious, grateful round of applause to Eli for all the heart and soul he puts into this place, all the work this place does, and what a wonderful impact that Alluvium in a rather short period of time has had on this community. And so we're very grateful for you and all you do here. So thank you. I forget exactly what the homework assignment was or whatnot. Something about talking about something when I'm up on stage that someone might not know or something like that. So that was very poorly worded. Well, I very seldom have any idea what I'm going to do when I come up on stage. Sometimes I'll have in my mind, okay, I'm going to sing Whale Song or Mordor Kitties or something like that, but usually when I come up and play, I'm just going off the cuff. I often make things up as I go along, and when I'm doing instrumental stuff, I almost never have any clue, and I just get up and jam. But generally, I'm thinking about aliens or interdimensional entities and that type of thing, and so that tends to be what guides me. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, we are not the only conscious entities here on this planet or otherwise. And it doesn't just take DMT to see that we are connected to all conscious energy. All of the different creatures and beings that exist in the trees and the clouds, everywhere, really, in the water, in the sky, and of course in the mind's eye. There's a quote, that's one of my favorite quotes actually, I think. It's from, probably never heard of this series of books called Harry Potter. And in the end, spoiler alert, Harry wins. But in the last book, towards the end, there's a chapter called King's Cross Station, where Harry Potter is basically in between worlds after one of his final confrontations with Voldemort. And he talks to Dumbledore, and Dumbledore, explains all this stuff that Harry had to figure out. It's a really good chapter. I love the chapters in those books that's just Dumbledore and Harry talking. It's why I love the Half-Blood Prince so much, because it's so many chapters of just Dumbledore and Harry talking about stuff. I don't know, I think it's great. But there's a quote in this chapter where Harry Potter says something to the effect of, he asks Dumbledore, he's like, is this real? Or is this just going on in my head? And Dumbledore answers, well, of course this is just going on in your head, but why would that make it not real? And I think it's one of the most profound things and true things that there is. So if you see visions, don't think that you're hallucinating or just making stuff up or it's not real. All of this stuff is very real. I was gonna go in another direction, but since I started talking about this stuff, I'm gonna veer into this next story. So, the conscious entities, aliens and stuff, are not just what you might call visions. I'm gonna tell you a little story about some physical energies, entities, and aliens, whatever you wanna call them, that I encountered. It was about 10 years ago. I was staying at a friend of mine's in Veneta, Elmira, excuse me, which is up west a little bit, very close to where the country fair is held, when it's held. Looking forward to that coming back. Anita, Elmira, at my friend's house, kind of in the country, and former apiary, actually, which is a bee farm. So I'm staying in my room, and I'm laying in bed, and I'm in a very relaxed state. I am not fucked up, if you'll forgive the parlance or anything like that. I'm feeling calm and relaxed, but I'm laying in bed in a nice relaxed state. I'm very much awake, but I'm also in that kind of like nice daisy place too. Daisy, dozy, but whatever. But very much awake, very much awake. And so I'm laying in bed, feeling pretty good, and all of a sudden I hear music. I'm like, huh, this is weird. Like, this isn't just like not making this up. I was hearing music, and it sounded like I was hearing music coming from a pair of headphones that was underneath a pile of clothing, if that makes any sense. So it was really kind of muffled and distant, but very, very much there and present in the room. And it was this weird electronic kind of music. And it was hard to describe. It didn't necessarily have a beat or rhythm, but it definitely had a flow. And it was music. It wasn't just static or noise. It was very much music. So I'm like, huh, this is intriguing. So I'm listening to this music. Again, I'm awake and I'm not hallucinating. And then all of a sudden, I look out the window and I see lights in the distance, a couple lights. It looked like someone was across the street, past this long yard that my friend has, with a flashlight. Maybe looking for their dog or cat or something. It's not uncommon. So I'm like, oh, interesting. But then the light turned to 3 lights, or I saw 3 lights. It's like, okay. And I'm staring out the window, listening to this ethereal music that's coming from my room. I have absolutely no idea where it's coming from, but it's coming from my room. And these lights start getting closer and closer into the window. I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of freaked out. My heart's racing really fast. I'm like, maybe we're being robbed. There's some people coming in, you know, on the property. And so I'm not just awake now, I am alert. I am wide awake, my heart's pounding, I'm alert, and I'm looking out the window. And the lights come closer and closer to me. And they get really right up to the window after a while, and they are not just lights or flashlights, but 3 beings, 3 all-white limbed beings with round heads. Couldn't make out any features per se, maybe eyes. I don't really remember that much because everything was so light. I remember just, what's the word? But like, yeah, hominid-looking, 2-legged, 2-armed creatures, beings, aliens, if you will. And I'm not kidding, they were real, and they came up to my window, and they came up to my room, and they were about to come in, or it looked like they were, and then I very clearly saw the outlines of their oval-shaped heads and long, skinny, white, light bodies. And the music is still going, and I'm kind of freaked out at this point. And as soon as they come close enough so I feel like they're in the room, I sit up a little bit in my bed. I sit up and I go, what? Just kind of like that, what? Because I'm kind of freaked out. And then all of a sudden, everything turned bright, flashing light. Nothing but light. And then it was gone. The music stopped, and they were no longer there. So I was visited by extraterrestrial beings. Like I said, this is no joke, I'm not making it up. That is just as real, at least in my perception of reality, as all of you are to me right now. Maybe a little more real because you don't freak me out nearly as much as those aliens did. And I actually kind of dismissed the experience for years until I talked to some people and I realized that I was actually visited by aliens. And I remember after it happened thinking to myself, I had some regret about how I responded. I'm like, oh man, why did I have to be so kind of freaked out? Why didn't I say, hello, welcome friends, what can you impart upon me, knowledge-wise? Then again, I may have gotten some kind of unpleasant anal probe or something like that if I had been inviting. In fact, the people that I had talked to that kind of confirmed this experience as being an alien visit said that I was very lucky, and that if I had not responded, had I not been so alert in this situation, that I may have been abducted and treated very poorly. unfortunately, not all of these entities, creatures, and aliens are our friends. There is, of course, a dichotomy in existence as we know it, of light and dark, emptiness and wholeness, nothing and everything. And there are forces at work within those. There are forces that would take everything away and control everything to the point of being basically nothing. And then there's the forces of everything that allows all to be, that's filled with love and all that wonderful energy. So it's hard to know whether these particular creatures were malevolent or benevolent, but in pondering upon it, I kind of think they may not have been so kind or nice because maybe they wouldn't have themselves disappeared. If, you know, they would have probably calmed me down and been like, nothing to worry about, friend. We chose you for a reason. And I mean, what the gosh darn holy heck were these things doing in Elmira, Oregon anyways? I didn't see a spaceship or anything. They just showed up. And like I said, they walked slowly. I watched for minutes as they came closer and closer. It's a pretty big yard. I used to think that the whole alien conspiracy that the government tried to hide and everything was actually the fact that there were no aliens really, but that they were conducting human experiments and promoting and propagating the idea of the aliens so people would be distracted from the horrible things that they were doing behind the scenes, which could very well be true. But nonetheless, I do firmly and fully believe now that there are extraterrestrial life and that I am not the only person who has seen them, and that there are institutions, governing bodies and other such institutions in our world that are working with them in some capacity. Some are benevolent, some not so much. I don't know, like I said, which ones. The ones that visited me were. But almost every day I will pray that the aliens come back and take me away. Or at least have a conversation and share with me a little bit of knowledge. Let me ask a few questions about our infinite reality. Seems to keep on going and going. I wonder if these aliens are connected to art, because technology and art are not necessarily the same thing. Beings, conscious beings, to some degree, may have all kinds of great technology, the ability to traverse dimensions and universes, but if they do not have art, they are not inherently connected to the soul of creation, the essence of everything. So I really stand by art as our most eminent and powerful channel to the truths and mysteries of reality, more than science can ever see, because it really, 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 really hits the cause, the root, the absolute essence of something from nothing. The idea that anything could possibly exist in any type of infinity, in any type of reality, comes down to the essence of creation, that there is a will for it to be. It is more in line and connected to the energies of art, I believe, than any other way that we have of communicating with the world or understanding the universe. Now, I'm not anti-science by any means, but I don't think it provides all the answers to the deeper questions and mysteries. That's why we're here right now. It's art in some capacity, to share our poetry, to share our music, to share our love of creation in some way, shape, or form. And if we are going to survive as humans, as conscious beings throughout time, because we may have millions, if not billions of years as a human species ahead of us. We're going to evolve in all kinds of different ways. This type of humanity will evolve to other kinds of humanity. But I think in order to really communicate and to keep the essence of consciousness going, it's really going to be about art. When we have artificial intelligence come into play, and robot overlords, it will be art that helps to bring them to consciousness. Not all the science they have, not all the logic, but art and artful thinking. So I'm probably close to 10 minutes here. I am not keeping track. But I will add one more little thing on this subject. Sometimes I admit fair amount of despair, which I always counter in some capacity with art, creation, and love and all that, but roller coaster, right? Such as life, ups and downs. And sometimes I don't have a lot of faith in the future. With technology-ridden children and a whole kind of new way of looking at the world that doesn't seem to be as understanding and compassionate and full as what we are capable of. But today I had the most amazing experience. I'm a teacher. I teach art and I teach workshops, art classes, art workshops, all ages. And today I taught my youngest group yet. They were ages 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I tell you what, there were some neighbors that wanted to hire me for this thing, and it's gonna be a regular gig now, which is cool. But I really didn't know what to expect. I figured, all right, we'll play around with some color and whatnot, and the kids will do their thing. And I have never had a more enthralled and attentive student body, shall we say, or audience, to teach art to, and the enthusiasm and the vigor through which that they mixed colors and stuff was akin to my own as an artist, someone who's really trying to go deep into the meaning of art. I get absolutely turned on and exhilarated by color. And these children were like that too. What if I mix green and purple and blue together? Well, what happens? And they mix it, and oh, look at that! And they just love it. And they just, look at this gray, it looks like a storm cloud. And without even using terms like complementary color mixing and aerial perspective and stuff, they were getting the essence of what these colors do and how they form feelings and ideas, even without needing an objective picture or reality behind them. And they can't wait till next week, and they want to learn more, and they're like, we're learning, and we're having fun. It was just awesome, and they were all attentive, and look at what I make, and look, they took turns, and they were all getting along. It was just a really exhilarating experience, so I had no idea that it would be toddlers that really just really invigorated my faith in humanity. So shout out to the youth, shout out to each of you and your creative spirit and energy. I am Art for Truth, we are Art for Truth. Art for Truth, art for life, art to end strife, and thank you all very much for your ear and your time.
I think I'm gonna do one more. Connor, you wanna hop up? I've been really moved tonight. It was a really long weekend, and it started with some disappointment because we had to cancel our stage at the Whitaker Block Party. But I feel very uplifted by the things I've heard tonight.
I've been low, living like I do. I've been tired when the day is through. Half away, and I try to face the night. brushed under the rug. Like the dust collecting in my thoughts. I have tried to shake the cobwebs off. They go back. Whenever I wake up, I see the lightning that grows on my way. Down from the sky, I'm adrift in the night. Soft is the sound as I crash to the ground, knowing you will never hear the news, and you never will be told. So I'll keep on lying low. Oh, I will lie and I'll stay out of sight, far from the thoughts you keep close in your mind. Years will pass by and I'll hide from the light, knowing you will never think of me in your distant memories. I will keep on lying low. So what we've been doing in the past is after we're done with the list of performers, we all just kind of break into small groups and chat, and that usually happens informally. And then Billy's here, and we've jammed a couple of times, so we'll maybe do some jamming afterward, but feel free to like talk amongst yourselves and mingle. And then check out Will's art and Alyssa's art. They both have really incredible artwork. And then also, I want to clarify your homework assignment because I feel like I kind of messed that up. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is after your set, you're supposed to meet one new person that you've not met before. So everyone has to meet at least one new person, and then you have to tell the new person about something that you created on stage, and it has to be something that you've never told before, which I'm gonna waive that last criteria because too many of you had trouble completing the assignment, and you all get a finger wag. And if you don't do this by the time you leave, you get an incomplete for this session. So I want you to know how seriously I take this grading. And yeah, no, I feel really uplifted by all the kindness and the beauty and the music that I've heard tonight. So I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, Connor, for joining me. Yeah.